Anglo-Saxons spoke Old English, a West Germanic tongue that evolved over time and laid the foundation for the English language. Anglo-Saxon was part of the Anglo-Frisian branch of the West Germanic languages. Even today, Frisian, spoken in the northern Netherlands, was the second most similar tongue to English, after Scots, which was also part of the Anglo-Frisian branch. Modern German and Dutch speakers would in fact have found Old English easier to pick up than modern English. At first, there were no signs of Briton influence, yet Latin leaves were clear from the outset, owing to Romanized Celts and the Christian faith. There were no set starting date for Old English. It began shaping itself as early as 450 AD and carried on up to about 700 AD. Originally, Anglo-Saxon runic writing was soon took up and merged with the Latin alphabet, fashioning a new writing system still not fully grasped, now called the Insular script. These were all examples from the same time period, showing the origins of the English language developing. The first text writ fully in Anglo-Saxon were the Cadmun or Junios manuscript from round 741, and it held many Old English poems. Anglo-Saxons first scratched foothawk runes, each mark standing for a sound. The Ruthwell Cross, set up round 680 AD in Dumfries, still bore those runes before Latin letters took over. Scribes penned Insular script, part runic in soul and full of Latin curves. The Lindisfarne Gospels, wrought round 700 AD on Holy Island, showed that hand at its finest. Monks penned Latin writing, plain yet grand. The Codex Amutinus, finished round 700 AD, stood as its masterpiece. Some runic could still be seen today in modern English. For example, the Anglo-Saxon rune thorn, the P-looking symbol, meant the, like in the old bakery. However, as the printing press came over to England from Europe, the thorn rune got printed as a Y instead, since thorn was only common in England, not on the continent. Therefore, the old bakery became ye old bakery, but that Y was still meant to be said as the. Anglo-Saxon literature, such as the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle and epic poems like Beowulf, showed the richness of the language. Though Beowulf were written down around 1000 AD, it had been told by mouth for many years before. Anglo-Saxon shops, meaning poets or bards, played a key role in society, making up and performing oral poetry, often with a harp in hand. Shops kept history, legends, and heroic deeds alive through telling stories, usually as epic poems. They were well respected for their knack to entertain, inspire, and pass on the values of their people. Some of the famous works they might have recited include Beowulf and other heroic sagas. A good example of some of these poems are in the Vercelli book, found all the way over in the Italian town of Vercelli. It held a mix of religious prose and poetry, with pieces like The Dream of the Rood and a homily thought to be by Elfric. Another key collection is the Exeter book, put together sometime between 960 and 990. It's packed with all sorts of Old English poetry, including The Wanderer, The Seafarer, and a whole load of clever riddles. I don't enjoy reading myself, but some of these were genuinely good. I recommend you look into them. The Anglo-Saxons were also fond of riddles. Here's one written in Anglo-Saxon on an artifact known as the Franks casket. The casket were most likely made in Northumbria for a patron over in France. What am I made from? The flood cast up the fish on the mountain cliff. The Terror King became sad where he swam on the shingle. I'll give you a moment. See if you can guess what it is. It's a whale's bone. Did you get it? Until the Norman conquest, the official language of the Anglo-Saxons was Old English, also known as Anglo-Saxon and Anglish. It was a language of high culture, administration, and everyday speech, although Latin was preferred by monks. It was a highly sophisticated language with its own grammar, look, and rules, many of which had been lost to time. It were also incredibly beautiful to look at. The creation of illuminated manuscripts like the Lindisfarne Gospels showed the Anglo-Saxon skill in art and how they blended visual beauty with written word. Be sure to check out my other channel, History Sticks, for the complete, longer, and comprehensive video.